Today, we're making chocolate banana bread. It's all the things we already love about banana bread, plus it's chocolate. Let's get baking. We're going to start our chocolate banana bread by whisking together our dry ingredients. We will be using half all-purpose flour and half whole wheat flour for this particular banana bread. You can absolutely use all-purpose. You can also go with all whole wheat, but your bread will be a little bit more dense, so just kind of keep that in mind. We're using about a cup of each of these. Go. To that, we're going to add cocoa powder. We'll be using a cup of cocoa powder. I'm making a double batch of this. The recipe below will be for a single batch, a single loaf of chocolate banana bread. So, let's see. Keep going with that. And a little bit more. And if you're wondering about the extra bowl for dry ingredients, I do usually do standard banana bread in just one bowl for everything. I'm mixing the dry ingredients here separately because I really dislike sifting cocoa powder, and I'm going to get away with not doing that by instead whisking it into the flour. And for that, I need the separate bowl. It's the lesser of two evils as far as I'm concerned. All right. We're also going to add our salt here and some baking soda. All right. Now we'll give that a good whisk. 30 seconds or so to incorporate our leavener and just to kind of break up any clumps of cocoa powder that are here. That's pretty thoroughly combined. I don't see any big chunks of cocoa powder lurking in there, so we'll set it aside and we're going to mash some bananas. So you can use overripe bananas that are just fresh from your kitchen counter, or of course you can use thawed frozen overripe bananas, and they look pretty gnarly, but they're going to work just fine. You basically, the best way to do that, to freeze your overripe bananas is just to stick them in the freezer unpeeled just like this, and when they thaw they're really going to slump. You can see how smushy this guy is. I'm just going to take the top off and squeeze it right out of the peel. It may not seem like the most appealing thing, but these guys make for terrific banana bread. All right, I'm going to add the rest of my bananas. Again, this is a double batch, so I'm using 6 bananas altogether. I'm going to add the rest of those to the bowl, and we're going to give that a real thorough mash with a potato masher. You can use a fork. You can use a pastry blender, whatever you want to mash up your bananas. All right, we'll get those guys mashed, and then we'll add the rest of our ingredients. Our banana is nicely mashed. It doesn't need to be totally smooth unless somebody in your household objects to discernible bits of banana in their banana bread, and then you can maybe put it in the blender, and that would certainly get it all the way smooth. But banana bread's a rustic thing, so we're going to go with it here. We are going to add to this a cup of oil, half a cup if you're doing one loaf of banana bread, and I do a mixture of vegetable or canola oil and olive oil in my quick breads, so that's what I'll be doing here. Let's see. I'll go a little bit more here. add some olive oil as well. And you can do a little bit less oil than that half a cup per loaf if you're so inclined. It stays pretty moist, so you can go a little bit light on that. I'm gonna go probably just shy of that, a full cup here. And then I'm going to add a couple of eggs. One, two. And going to add brown sugar. It doesn't matter if it's light brown sugar or dark brown sugar. I've got some dark brown sugar here that I'm going to add. Before I do that, I go ahead and grab my whisk and just break up those egg yolks. There we go. All right, and the brown sugar here is another thing that is variable. You can play around with it. You can add a little bit less. If you want a sweeter bread, you can add more. I'm going to go with about 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar per loaf. All right, there we go. Going to get this mixed together until we don't have any streaks of brown sugar or unmixed egg yolk. Just a few turns of the whisk, a wooden spoon, a spatula, anything really will work out. Okay, here. All right, I am going to switch to a spatula and mix in my dry ingredients. And here, we don't want to overmix. We just want to make sure that there are no substantial pockets of unmixed dry ingredients in here. No really big patches of banana mixture either. And there we go. You can see that there are bits of banana in here. Again, we didn't get that completely smooth. It is banana bread. The mixture looks pretty thoroughly incorporated. You want to err on the side of slightly undermixed if you can, or if you have to choose. All right, but we do have one more thing that we're going to add in here. We are going to gild the lily by putting some chocolate chips in. So I go with about 2/3 of a cup of chocolate chips, any kind of chocolate chips you like. Of course, this is totally optional. You could also add in nuts if you would prefer those, or just leave it as it is. All right, we're gonna go with chocolate chips though. Because if you're making your banana bread, chocolate banana bread, may as well go with some chocolate chips. There we go. So, give that one more stir. And now it's time to put our banana bread mixture into our pans. I'm using 2 9x5 loaf pans. If you're doing a double recipe like I am, you could actually make this into 3 8x4 loaves. So we'll divide the mixture evenly as best we can. And if you want to make sure it's really totally even, and you've got that kitchen scale handy, you can go ahead and use it to even out your loaves. Within a gram of one another. A blob of batter or so in each of these. Rinse the hands. And we will add one more thing to each. Just giving them a little shake. Get that batter evenly distributed. Going to put a little bit of demerara sugar or sugar in the raw on top of each of these loaves, and that's just going to give it a nice crackly crust on the top. Again, totally optional. If you like cinnamon with these flavors, you could do cinnamon sugar on top, or just let it be. There we go, a sprinkling of sanding sugar or demerara sugar on the top here, and they are ready for the oven. These will slide into the oven for about a 350 oven for 55 to 65 minutes. Bananas vary in terms of moisture content, so the baking time is going to vary a little bit as well. So we'll start checking at about 55 minutes, and we will be back with some lovely baked banana bread. Our banana bread has baked. It took exactly 60 minutes. It has cooled, and now it's time to get this out of the pan and take a taste. I'm just going to lift this by its parchment paper sling here. Set that on a plate, and we're going to slice into it. You can see there is, maybe you can even hear it, a crispy crust on the top. That's from the sanding sugar that we put on there. Again, that's optional, but it really is nice. I'm going to give that a slice. Go right through that crunchy top. This stuff is pretty soft in the center, but there's nothing wrong with that. All right, we're going to take a slice, set it on the plate, and give it a taste. There we go. All right, you can see it's nice and dark and chocolatey. There are little bits of banana visible and some chocolate chips nestled in there too. We have a corner that already broke off, so I'm going to give that a try. Chocolatey, sweet but not too sweet. This stuff is perfect for an indulgent breakfast that really isn't that bad for you, or maybe even for dessert with a little bit of ice cream on top. We hope you try this, and you check back every Friday at 4 o'clock for a new recipe.